Yo, what is good YouTube? I am Richie Kim, and today I'm going to be bringing you all the performance review on Anthony Edwards' first signature shoe with Adidas, the AE1. Before we get started, if you all enjoy sneaker content just like this, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button down below, and also hit that bell notification button so you never miss another video just like this. But anyways, let's get right into it. As always, starting off with the traction, the AE1 features a standard, traditional herringbone traction pattern, and the traction on this shoe is freaking phenomenal. If you guys are playing on a clean court or a dusty court, it honestly won't matter at all. The traction on this shoe was really good. You're gonna have super hard stops. You'll be able to stop on that dime, And as far as the dust pickup on the shoe, it does pick up some dust, depending on how big the clumps of the dust are. It can kind of get stuck in between the grooves, but the great thing about this shoe is, for the most part, a quick wipe and you will be good to go. As you all can see, there is quite a bit of dust lodged in between the grooves, but that doesn't really affect the performance. It just looks kind of nasty. But yeah, overall, the traction on this shoe was really good. So moving on to the cushion, the AE1 features a combination of Adidas's Light Strike and Boost foam. So up in the forefoot, you do have a Light Strike midsole, and then into the heel area, I'd say midfoot to the back, you do have Boost. And in the forefoot, I would say that the cushion is very, it feels very low to the ground. I wouldn't say there's too much impact protection or anything. You definitely feel quick on your feet. In the heel, you definitely notice that there is more compression. However, I still wouldn't say there's too much compression. It's not too squishy or anything like that. If you like to be shifty, I would say this cushion setup is actually pretty nice. Like I said, it does feel very low to the ground, and it feels like there's no lag in between your movements, when you want to make that cut or whatever. The cushion does a pretty good job of making sure that, that movement happens almost right away. So yeah, the cushion setup in here is definitely catered for, shiftier players or more guard-like players, people that don't like to have any lag in their step, because when it comes to impact protection, it's definitely not the best. At least in the forefoot. In the heel, it's okay, but yeah, overall the cushion setup, at least for me, was really nice, because I do like to feel very low to the ground and like to have a very responsive cushion. So moving on to the materials, the AE1 features a plethora of materials. You have some knit, you have a felt material and neoprene, and you also have this exterior TPU shell almost. Yeah, so as far as the materials go, it's not bad. I think the materials look cool. In terms of performance, they get the job done for the most part, which I will get into later, because it does affect another aspect of the shoe. But strictly from a material standpoint, I do like the materials. This TPU is very soft, but also rugged. I don't think you'll be blowing through this material, by doing toe drags or whatever. The felt material on the toe is something I really don't like though. This just feels very cheap, and I wish they used something else, maybe just continue this knit, or I don't know, a piece of leather would have been really nice. But they did opt to go with this felt material, which in the end, from a performance aspect, is fine, but it just doesn't feel as premium. The rest of this black area right here is this open knit or textile of some sort, and it feels nice. I would say this shoe isn't the most breathable, but it's pretty dang good still. I never felt my feet start to sweat in the shoe or anything like that. And then moving to the tongue, you do have this very thin but neoprene tongue, and this does feel very good on foot. Moving to the back, you do have this external heel counter, which is a carbon fiber, but pretty sure this is fake carbon fiber. It's just plastic with that carbon fiber weave look on it. It does look really cool, and it's very functional. But yeah, overall the materials on this shoe, I personally had no issues with it, at least from that material standpoint. But like I said, there is one issue with the materials, which we'll get into. So moving on to the fit, I would say that the AE1 does run slightly long. I don't know if it's long enough for me to go down a half size personally, just because I do have slightly wider feet. But if you do have, I would say like, skinny feet or normal feet, I do think you can get away with going down a half size. Otherwise, I would say go true to size and you should be good to go. As a slightly wide footer, I was actually okay in this shoe. For the most part, you do feel your depending on where your foot is wide, right? My foot is wide in the forefoot, so I did feel my pinky toe area kind of protrude through this material a little bit. So, it really didn't affect the overall fit of the shoe. This material does stretch because there's this underlying mesh material underneath the TPU. But yeah, overall the fit was good. It felt very one-to-one. This is a half booty upper and the materials do lie very nicely over the foot. It is very tight up in the forefoot area if you do like that. So yeah, the fit was really good in here. So I really did like the fit of the shoe. One downside I will say, because of the, overall design of the shoe, is if you do have slightly wider feet or even wide feet, you will have a really hard time sliding your foot into the shoe, at least maybe for the first, couple weeks, maybe a week. Just let the materials break in a little bit and it does get easier. But damn, trying to slide my foot into the shoe, especially when it was brand new, was a complete pain in the ass. So moving on to the support, this is where I thought the AE1 kind of failed a little bit. The support in the heel was really good. The external heel counter does a great job of making sure your heel is locked in place. On top of the construction of this whole back area of the shoe, your heel is not going anywhere. I didn't have any heel slippage issues at all. The issue when it comes to support is the side-to-side movement on the footbed, as well as the linear movement on the footbed. So if you guys like to do super hard lateral movements, you are putting a lot of torque into those movements, you might feel your foot slide off the footbed just a little bit. I don't think that this material does the best job of making sure your foot is contained on the footbed. There were times where I would do a super hard cut or a cross or something like that, and I felt my foot slide a little bit. It never slid completely off the footbed to the point where I'm gonna roll my ankle. This does have a pretty wide base and a slight lateral outrigger, so I think that really did help with making sure that you don't roll your ankle. But yeah, I did feel a slight movement on the footbed, both linearly and laterally. So that is just something to keep in mind, when it comes to the support in the AE1. Outside of that, support was good, but I don't like having that movement on the footbed because, it's just something that sits in the back of your mind, oh, if I do a super hard lateral movement, maybe I roll my ankle. And you just don't want that, especially when you're just hooping, right? So that's really the only fault when it comes to the AE1, is that linear and lateral movement on the footbed. The AE1 retails for $120, and for $120, I would honestly recommend the shoe. If you can get by, the support issue that I mentioned, I honestly think this is a great performer. Like I said, I never had issues of actually rolling over the footbed. It was just a slight movement on the footbed that just kind of, scares you just a little bit, but I never actually rolled my foot, so I'm not gonna say that you are going to roll your ankles in this. Keep in mind, I'm also a lighter player, so if you are, on the heavier side, maybe stay away from the shoe because you might actually roll over that footbed and injure yourself. So that's just something that you don't want. But yeah, the support issue was one problem. And another problem, which I won't say is really a problem, but it's definitely noticeable, is that the AE1 is definitely a bottom heavy shoe. And if you don't like that type of feeling, then you probably won't like this shoe, because this upper half feels very, very light, but the cushion in here is pretty dense, so it just feels super bottom heavy, and it might feel like your foot is being weighed down. But to me, I kind of got used to it. I've just been pretty much playing in my Kobe 6s for, I don't even know, the past year or so, since I took a break. But honestly though, the AE1 was a breath of fresh air, and it was really fun to play in. So yeah, I would recommend the AE1 Just be careful of the lateral and linear movement on the footbed. And honestly, I think you guys should be fine. If you all want to cop a pair of these, I'll leave a link down in the description box below. But that's pretty much it for this video. If you all like this video, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button down below. And also smash that thumbs up button for me, as it really does help me out. Also, don't forget to hit that bell notification button so you never miss another video just like this. But anyways, I'll catch you in the next one.